I call this borrowed time. I remember the day clearly. It was June 26, 2013. It was like every other Monday morning, except this morning. I'd lost all hope for any sort of recovery. I lost the will to live. I felt alone in the battlefield of life. Not even the beautiful, unconditional love of my children could bring me out of the darkness, which consumed me. I walked into my closet like every morning. My wife's bright and colorful clothes hanging on the right like a glimmer of hope. My dark colored clothes loomed in front of me like a dark depressing cloud. I was in the closet getting ready for work when I saw out of the corner of my eye a navy blue gun case that held my Smith & Wesson Model 457 45 ACP handgun. I turned slowly in the direction of the case. In a slow, methodical manner, I reached for it, which I assumed would be my last time. The guilt and shame of my actions had finally eaten me alive. I opened the case, and there it was, the supposed answer to all my pain and anguish. The dull matte finish was glimmering in the thought of the closet light. Sitting there before me was going to be the end all. I reached behind the case and grabbed a newly purchased box of 45 ACP hollow points. I cleared the magazine of the dull, full metal jacket ammunition and opened a new box of rounds. Sitting there before me, they were like a shining ray of light, the answer, if you will. I slowly loaded the magazine with 7 perfect little soldiers. If this was going to be my last action, it was going to be done right. I grabbed my handgun and pulled the slide to the rear and locked it open, and then followed it up by grabbing the newly loaded magazine of ammunition. I slid it into the well of the handgun, flicked the safety to fire, and released the slide as it slammed forward with a metallic click, with the round being fully chambered. No time to turn back now. Let's just end all this fucking pain. I placed the handgun in my mouth, and I knew relief was so close. I remember the taste of the gun oil, the gunpowder, the metallic taste of the firearm in my mouth. So close to the end at this point, I tilted the handgun up to ensure I would not fuck this up as well, as I had in every other aspect of my life at this point. I could feel the barrel pressed into the top of my mouth. With the gun in my mouth, I felt it almost at peace. I felt like all of my pain, frustrations, and worries were going to be gone with one trigger squeeze. And I started to apply pressure to the trigger, feeling the action of the trigger moving backwards. One more second, my life would be over. I completed the trigger squeeze and all I heard was click. It took me a moment to realize the round did not fire. I dropped to my knees in shame and anger, like a petulant child. Fuck, I can't even do this right. I sat there on the floor of my closet, and all I could think of at that moment was my children. How close I came to letting them find their father, slumped over in the closet with his brains plastered against the wall. At this point, I went completely numb. Lost in my head like I had been for the past 6 years. I stood up slowly, placed the handgun back in the case, wiped the tears from my eyes, and put the gun back in the case and continued to get dressed like nothing had happened. I walked out of the closet, turned off the light, went into the living room, kissed my wife, set at an appointment at the VA. I got in my car and sat there. I grabbed from under my seat the kit I'd always kept in my car. I opened the case and grabbed a glass pipe. I popped open my container and loaded the entire bowl of my drug of choice, sweet California green bud. Instantly, the car was filled with the pungent smell of high-grade marijuana. I sat there and looked at the bowl I had just loaded. The greens and purples of the flowers exploded with vibrant colors. Trichomes, a perfect shade of amber. Relief was so close. I pulled out of the driveway and fired up the bowl. The sweet smell of pot filled the car. I was floating in the clouds like I always had. I called my wife and bluntly said I just tried to kill myself. She was in shock and dismay. I told her I was checking myself into the VA for trying to commit suicide. I told her to take my firearm and drop it off with a friend for safekeeping. At this point, I realized I'm on borrowed time. It is up to me to live my life to the fullest and remember that I'm not alone. Thank you.
I can't put into words how grateful I am for Pathways because they saved my life. 5 years in San Quentin or come to Pathways. You guys do the math. I definitely made the right choice. I would be in the cell right now. And Pathways is incredible. Fred saved my life. And all you hear, you don't have to be here. I mean, half the faces I've never seen before, you know, and yet you're still here to see us, people you've probably never met, and I've never had a heart that big. And I emulate every one of you out here because I pray that one day I can be like you all, coming to presentations within my community, giving back to my community, and seeing people advance and grow in life. And that's what you're doing for me, you're doing for these people here, for the fellow veterans that sit in the audience. You know, you're here supporting us on your own time. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Adelaide.
This is the first time that I've ever shared my story with anybody. And I was at rock bottom. This program saved my life. And I can't thank the staff enough for everything. Steve, damn. I know it's just boring, but you taught me how to not isolate.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and showing their appreciation. A lot of people I'd like to thank. Some people in this room. Rotary Group, definitely. Steve, Ken, you can see Dow over there, drove us the whole day, really.
I can't thank this program enough. I don't have the words to thank them for what they've done. I was in a really bad spot, and they helped bring me out of it. The Rotary guys, I'll always remember you, Ken, Steve, Dow, I'm sure you're back there somewhere. Larry with his killer curveball.
Magic.
Tom, Mike, thank you. The staff, Chad, Christy, Kathy. They've done so much for all of us. The community here is just amazing. I just can't thank them enough. I just don't have the words to express it, so thank you.